First, though, it's time for a few underreported holy mackerel stories in the news today. During the Bush years, being a retired general has turned out to be a way more controversial job than it used to be. First, there is the consternation about retired generals as military analysts, both because Donald Rumsfeld's Pentagon essentially treated them as a psyops unit to spread Rumsfeld's talking points as if they were news, and because so many retired generals and admirals have defense industry business contracts, which creates potential conflict of interest issues and disclosure issues for the TV networks that use the brass as experts. But retired senior officers have also played a big political role in the Bush years as critics, as activists. Remember the generals' revolt to try to get Rumsfeld fired? You might also remember that it was about 50 senior retired officers who banded together in 2005 to try to get the torture ban passed. What passed was a bill that still lets the CIA waterboard people, and then Bush issued a signing statement to go along with it anyway that said if he doesn't feel like following that law, even with all the holes in it, he reserves himself the right not to follow that law. So torture, either by Americans or in countries to which we ship prisoners by the process of rendition, torture is still an expanding stain, a vile, sticky stain on our nation's dirty laundry. Here's the good news, though. Yesterday, 14 of the 50 retired senior military officers who had tried to get the torture thing banned, they took a meeting with Obama's nominee for Attorney General and with the incoming White House counsel, Greg Craig. That is a good sign. The current Attorney General, Mike Mukasey, yesterday told reporters that he does not think President Bush has to issue pardons before he leaves office for anyone who implemented or wrote out the justifications for the torture policies. Why not? Mukasey's explanation is going to slay you. He said that no pardons are needed because there was, quote, absolutely no evidence that anybody who rendered a legal opinion with respect to interrogation policy did so for any reason other than to protect the security of the country and in the belief that he or she was doing something lawful. In those circumstances, there is no occasion to consider prosecution and there is no occasion to consider pardons. In other words, the people who wrote the torture policies did nothing illegal because they meant well. Defense attorneys nationwide, consider yourselves put on notice by Bush's Attorney General that you can start planning your bank robber with a heart of gold defense strategies now. And there's interesting new polling data out about who voted for and against controversial Proposition 8 in California, which rescinded same-sex marriage rights after 18,000 couples had already married here. What got initial attention for Prop 8 was the fact that the marriage ban was supported by a high proportion of African-American voters, who also overwhelmingly supported Barack Obama. That is still true, but quantitatively, if you really get into the nitty-gritty details, you can tell a lot more about how a person voted on Prop 8 by knowing their education level and income, whether or not they are a Republican, their religion, and whether or not they voted for John McCain, rather than just knowing their race. A new survey for the Public Policy Institute of California says that college grads and upper-income voters, regardless of race, voted against the marriage ban. And non-college grads and lower-income voters, again, regardless of race, voted for it. Other strongly correlated traits for Prop 8 voters? Well, 77% of Republicans supported the ban, 85% of evangelical Christians supported the ban, and 85% of people who voted for John McCain supported the ban. Latinos and African Americans were more likely to support the ban than white people were. But if you're looking to see who the ban could not have passed without, it's Republicans, Christian evangelicals, and the poor and less educated among us. You've got your work cut out for you, gay rights movement.